Representative of Honduras. Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Madam Marguerite, our representative from the UN. Thank you very much, Madam Minister Maria del Pilar, all the guests, visitors here. Thank you to the President of Ecuador, and thank you and greetings, and thank you for being such a great host and for all your efforts in risk management. Honduras makes an effort to have a national system for DDR. We have come to Ecuador on behalf of the government of Honduras as a national commissioner, permanent commissioner of contingencies in my country. I am here to make you know that this is one of the most vulnerable nations of the world, and its commitment to form, strengthen, and put into practice the national system for risk reduction system, as well as other efforts that have now become the most modern ones of the Isthmus. And I would like to thank this opportunity for exchanging ideas, knowledge that allow us to strengthen our processes for planning, monitoring the process, the progress, and all actions to implement the Hyogos framework. I must begin by saying that the law of the national system for risk management in November of 2009 was for Honduras the beginning of the road that is now allowing us to forge ahead very firmly in a harmonious manner to achieve the objectives of Hyogo that pursue the resilience increase vis-a-vis the disasters until we are at in 2015 when Hyogo framework will have completed the first 10 years in Honduras. The system will be working, establishing links to establish the objectives, and what we're expecting to have accomplished is a productive Honduras generator of opportunities and dignified employment, taking into advantage and tapping its resources and reducing environmental weakness. Our national plan refers to mitigation and adaptation of the country to climate change, and that is the axis of the SINAHER's actions. If we, while we assume this role in this challenge, the private sector does have to assume its own role to help us prevent risk. And one of the strengths of SINAHER is to have a very organized civil society, where several non-governmental organizations converge, which include in their strategies elements to promote sustainable development, especially this variable of risk management. One of the problems that Honduras had in the last mandate of period of government was that it started initiated SINAHER, and in 4 years this commission the permanent commission became a modern entity at the helm of Central America in terms of equipment, and we currently have an institution that is capable of organizing, directing, and adopting preventative measures to coordinate and have participatory efforts to protect life, goods, and the environment for the citizens in the national territory. It will also promote resources and technical capabilities. It is important to comment that we have advanced as a country, but however, we still have a lot to do. Of course, we have a lot ahead, and we have to establish the scenarios for simulations and drills, the climate, and on a national scale that will enable us to have strategies that guarantee protection for life and vis-a-vis climate changes, and also the accountability processes, local and regional. And for the protection of affected populations, the design needs to be affected that will guarantee the rights of people in the communities affected by the disasters, and especially the most vulnerable groups, and the rights to receive humanitarian aid. Methodologies and processes to promote risk analysis with knowledge of all the different needs of the different sectors of the population. Honduras' geographic position as a bio-oceanic nation in the center of in Central America has lent it a special potential for development, but it also makes it the objective of meteorological phenomena year after year. Of course, we also have an increasing seismic activity because of our geographic location. Thank you very much, and blessings to all of you.
Thank you very much.
The floor. He's there.
Thank you, Chair. Minister Conhill, Special Representative Wallstrom, colleague ministers, delegates. Let me first thank the government and people of Ecuador for the warm hospitality extended to my delegation and for its leadership in the field of disaster risk reduction, reflected in the hosting of this fourth session of the Regional Platform of the Americas. I must recognize our close collaboration between Jamaica and Ecuador as representatives from the Latin American and Caribbean on the Bureau of the PrepCom for the Third World Conference on DRR. Jamaica places high priority on DRR efforts in the national, regional, and international levels with good reason. Experience has taught us that vulnerability to disasters arising from natural or man-made events pose real threats to the society, place significant burden on the national budget, and undermines the growth and development in the economy. It has also taught us that the region and international cooperation is critical to effective risk reduction and management and event, more so for response and recovery, especially in catastrophic events. Our national disaster management process integrates all levels of government, both local, national, and civil society. At the national level, the Office of Disaster Prevention and Emergency Management has sought to apply best practices in the field of disaster management based on the effective involvement of the communities, towns, cities, and parishes, and multi-stakeholders' involvement in all aspects of disaster management efforts. We have decentralized some responsibilities where it's clear that local mechanisms are most inappropriate or ineffective. We have empowered community emergency response teams, undertaking extensive local level training and capacity building, developed and implemented community micro mitigation projects, mapped hazard-prone areas, and developed community disaster management and mitigation plans. We are using disaster risk management information to build a culture of safety at all levels. It is in this regard we have sought to establish a sector strategy for DRM. Our public education campaign has been expanded to encompass outreach to business communities, schools, and the public at large. We have taken steps to address the needs and the special needs population and implemented systems to support the disabled community in Portmore, one of our most vulnerable areas, through appropriate notification procedures. Jamaica has developed an effective national emergency telecommunications plan with necessary redundant capabilities and address issues of connectivity to the national public safety system. We are seeking to expand this program to include effective use of emergency instant messaging via the mobile networks. We are developing a national search and rescue plan, revising our national shelter welfare plan and our oil spill plan and chemical response protocols, all aimed at ensuring better management of risk and driving resilience. I will shortly be taking forward to Parliament a building bill that will require safe and resilient building practices as a condition for approval of construction projects. These initiatives that I have described reflect Jamaica's commitment to the goals of the Yoga Framework for Action, which we took seriously from day one. Going forward, we feel that the post-2015 agenda for DRR will emerge from SENDI is very important. We see complementarity between continued work on the valuable goals of HFA and the next generation goals that we are going to work forward with. One of the most important objectives must be to integrate DRR as a fundamental component in all development policies. This is not radical thinking, it is common sense. When I consider my own country, Jamaica, for the past 10 years, we have seen annual average loss of 2% of GDP. It is clear that adopting a development approach that has assessed and seeks to build resilience against risk is fail-safe investment. A robust agenda for disaster risk reduction must complement determined action on climate change, not provide an excuse for delay and procrastination. On the crucial challenge of reducing harmful emissions and taking decisive actions on adaptation and mitigation, the burden that rests on major polluters cannot be lifted by the disaster risk reduction and resilience agenda. The goals of the Kyoto Protocol must be met. Moreover, the future implications of continued climate change effect must be taken into account. This link between climate change and DRR is not an academic issue for Jamaica or other SIDS. We recognize that certain climate change effects are unavoidable, and for this reason, effective risk management programs are critical to complement the determined risk reduction measures. For Jamaica, we see collective approaches, commitments, and actions as necessary, not a luxury. This is why we collaborate with our sub-regional level, with this SEDIMA, and attach such importance to the regional platform from Panama to Guayaquil. No country is disaster-proof. We are vulnerable, but we can act decisively and collectively to reduce our vulnerabilities through prudent management of the local, national, regional, and international levels. Jamaica remains committed to playing its part at all levels. Thank you very much.
Por favor, México, hacer su presentación.
Mexico, we're ready for your presentation. Thank you. Those of us who are part of the Mexican delegation here value the effort of all of those who have made this event possible, where we find several convergences, such as, and one of the most important responsibilities by governments and international organizations, which is to safeguard people's lives. I extend hereby my warmest recognition to the Minister Mariel Pilar Conejo for her leadership and her commitment demonstrated at this forum, and all of what it represents in matters of disasters. And I take this opportunity to ask her to please convey our feelings to the people of Ecuador and the government of Ecuador for all the kindness received and the warmth we have been given. And to Margareta and Ricardo, our great thanks, of all usual thanks, and the commitment to continue to work with you in all of these tasks. I salute respectfully to all representatives of the different countries and organizations and members of the civil society. For several decades now, our planet has been suffering important alterations in its environment, and we know that it can create very atypical, difficult conditions and even unknown up until now. Therefore, that's the reason why in 2005 we approved, as along with other countries, the Hyogo framework with very important objectives for prevention. In Mexico, we started the Secure Safe Hospital program, where we have concluded a data gathering, which and we've progressed to up to 90% of our total universe, and we're now working on another similar program called Safe Schools, which focuses on conditions of infrastructure and safety for each one of the schools in our country. We are aware that we can suffer consequences of a phenomenon that is very disturbing, or that is generated by nature or by human activity. Therefore, it is very important for us to have a vision that goes beyond any border, and that as a region we commit to, even to the point of being square-headed, to continue with our efforts that will enable us to form a regional common front with practical activities that can raise up to the challenge that we may be faced with. And the sum of all this will enable us to devise public policy that are modern and innovating, that will allow us to increase our efficiency and effectiveness in crisis moments. And I think we should go back to our countries convinced of the importance of our doubling efforts in everything concerning prevention, and that we are obligated to involve the state governments, departments, municipalities, or local governments, as well as the private sector and society at large, in constructing true social responsibility and co-responsibility as defined here. We need to involve civil society for it to understand that it is essential part in the prevention chain, and that it should assume an attitude of commitment, linkage, and responsibility with towards its person, its family, and its social environment. And that's how we will increase the level of resilience of our communities before any eventuality. We must also motivate participation of the private sector in the business sector, because they have a great a way of helping, we need to increase humanitarian aid, to know who will help us, who we can count on before an emergency will make us more effective at the time of disaster. And if we coordinate with the business sector, this will be even better. Mexico is committing to have an international survey. We will contribute this to the process of negotiation for the new world framework for prevention and solution of disasters. And this will allow us to also consolidate the investment in risk reduction. And within these coordination activities, last summit between Mexico and the community of the Caribbean, the Mexican president announced that it was important to transfer the knowledge, technology, and coordinate better amongst governments. And he also explained the commitment of our country to help with $14 million for the Caribbean disasters and for Central America. And Sendai is almost here in 2015, so we have the opportunity to establish the road that we want to traverse in the future, with clear strategies and precise action plans that will strengthen risk mitigation. And so we agree with the declaration here mentioned. Thank you very much, and congratulations. And we invite Panama to come and make its presentation. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Uh, Members of the main table, colleagues and visitors, and audience in general. First of all, our thanks and our cordial greeting from Panama to all of you. as it was already identified in the reports on progress of the within the Hyogo framework between 2007 and 2011. At that time, our country did not have a defined policy or plans that would orient the actions to reduce risk in our institutions. And it was there then that we had a consultation, intersectorial consultation, and to generate an agenda for an integral and joint risk management, which created a new policy and the National Plan of Risk Management of 2011-2015, and we created the national platform for risk management with an internal regulations and a board of directors. This this effort arose from the commitment of the Republic of Panama to have a framework to orient and guide the political decisions from an integral perspective to reduce disaster risks as a part of the development. And for example, National Authority of the Environment refreshes the policies of the hydric resources with the and harmonizes it with the disaster management departments and the climate change um, departments and their respective policies. Also a program for strengthening and expanding the national network of meteorological stations to improve knowledge of these kinds of threats, and the territorial ordering and the Institute of Geosciences were also conducting efforts and surveys about the risks, seismic risks, especially in the province of Chiriquí, using special tools to forecast risks of earthquakes. And we're currently conducting other studies in the capital city, and we have now a national policy and with contemplating disaster risk management and climate change, and we also have other themes such as risks and disasters in other instruments of the government. The functions of the Directorate of Risk Management and Financial Management was also modernized, and we've created some emergency offices, and the World Bank has granted a special credit for emergencies, and we have also another line of credit, and and the risk variable has also been included to the national public intervention plans. And in the educational area, we have also included risk management and knowledge, and we also have drills and simultaneous drills and exercises, simulations with the support of the local governments, and we have been able to have over 2,000 students simultaneously involved in these exercises. Also in the area of health, several health centers are being implemented in different areas of the country, and we are also involved in the Safe Hospitals program. Also, on the children's and youth fronts, they have developed an internal strategies to manage risk at that level, and they are also including all topics related to boys, girls, youth, and adolescents. And the Panamanian Institute for Special Environment has also a good practices manual, and the National Secretariat for Disabilities has also a special protocol for for the disabled population faced with emergencies and natural disasters. This has been recognized by the international community as one of the 3 best experiences in America in terms of risk reduction, organized at the conference organized in 2012 in Chile. We promote, we process, and we support these themes. During the pro tempore presidency of Panama at the 35th meeting of the EDSICA countries convention, we submitted our advances, a report, and we also have approved the Central America. We're part of the Central American Risk Center, and we have facilitated several other accords, and we have logistics facilities that are at the disposal of all the Americas. We expect that the new Hyogo framework will have a more direct language and to be a mandatory accord rather than a guideline or an orientation. And we believe that the important players and stakeholders must share responsibilities, and from the perspective of the continuity of business and social responsibility, we need to make visible with differentiated actions all of the items referring to children and indigenous populations and senior citizens and gender issues, so that this should not be such an obvious conversation. And also to highlight the importance of ecosystems as a way of reducing disasters, and to give more importance to the monitoring mechanisms, and to strengthen the organizations and departments that manage risks in all countries, and UNISDR as well, to continue to promote compliance of objectives that will come with the new Hyogo framework, and to further the agenda as a state policy, and respecting and the international processes, all working as jointly as a resilient Panama, heart of the world. And thank you very much.